Welcome to another episode of Heart and Soul. And today's topic is birth, death, and rebirth. The soul's journey. Our life, our souls are eternal. And we have been on this earth many times, maybe, past life. And when our experience here on earth ends, we are not gone. Our soul lives on forever. And that's important to know. And we're going to share insights into this cycle. Welcome, Janet.
Sorry about that. I had to, my little doggy decided she wanted it out. So let her out. Welcome, everyone. Yes, this is an interesting topic to talk about because when we were talking about topics for this week, I suggested this one, but I didn't want to do just death. I think it's important to understand this cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. And before we jumped on, I was explaining to Caroline that for me, as a child growing up in quite a religious family, that it used to feel very heavy, that this death was like, it felt so finite, that you either went to heaven or you went to hell. And because there was so much about, you burn in hell if you do this, that, the other, I as a child was always frightened because I always felt, even you've told a lie that you were going to burn in hell. And it put a lot of heaviness and pressure on me, if I'm honest. And it's only through then spiritual growth that I've learned more about the cycle of the soul never dies. Um, it's like the energy, you can't destroy energy, it keeps reformatting. And I really connected with that. It really felt much lighter, much better. Is that your soul is on this journey and going through endless cycles of learning and development in different ways, whether it's on the earth plane or whether it's in a different dimension or it's in a different planet. It just made me feel so much happier. So death doesn't have that frightening connotation anymore. What about you, Caroline?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when my father died 30 years ago, um, I was shocked. And before that, I was really afraid of death because I felt that's the end. And then I realized, oh, I'm gonna meet him again. That was so ingrained. And of course, studying all spiritual work and also mediumship, I have a good connection with him in spirit. And yeah, I when I was younger as a child, I don't know, maybe around 10, I watched a movie of India, and a husband died, and then the woman, the wife, was burned alive. And for me, it felt, I had no idea why, but this felt like so bad. Like I felt it. I experienced that. And that was just an experience as a child. And I had no idea of previous lives or afterwards. And later, of course, walking the spiritual path and realizing that I've probably been burned at the stake as a witch in one of my previous lives. So that's why just that movie was so, I just felt it in my body, and I had that sort of past life experience coming together. And of course, um, I think it was 08, 2008. I was really, really anemic, and I needed iron infusions. And of course, with the second one, I had an anaphylactic shock, and I was gone. And it was so good. I mean, I was lying there and then I saw dots and I just realized I couldn't breathe anymore. But it was so peaceful. It was so peaceful. I was not afraid. It was just perfect. You know, I was leading a hectic life, an unhappy marriage, three young children, completely emotionally abused and alone. And that was so peaceful. And I think I needed to experience that to reconnect with my inner peace. Of course, I'm still here. They revived me, you know, all that. It took me a long while to really come back in my body, so to speak. I always felt sort of like I'm out of it. But that was also a good experience to know that there is another form of living and that it's just the body we're leaving, you know, that the soul lives on. And yeah, we all meet again, and soul family, soul sisters, you know, like you, Janet. It's you. Sometimes you meet people and you feel like you've known them before. And you and I, we sure shared a past life together. It's just that connection. And if you felt like that with one person, not knowing them before, but just meeting them and feeling like, have we met before?
Yeah.
You most certainly have at the soul level in a different area. So yes, I definitely believe in life after death, sort of like this is just a passing experience, and that we come back here to learn. And sometimes, yes, I wonder, as I was up there on the cloud and I felt sort of like, yeah, I choose this life here. Yeah, I love this experience. Yeah, I love to experience all this. And I think sort of, I must have been out of my mind to feel like this is what I wanted to experience. But of course, it's for the soul's growth,
Yeah.
for the experience, for, yeah, being here, that earthly density in that body, that duality. It's it's intense, but we make it work, right? Riding the waves.
Exactly. And I mean, I love that you're sharing that with us, because I think for so many people they do carry a real fear of death. And as we know, fear is, particularly that sort of fear, it really holds you back from living. If you're so afraid of dying, you don't live to the same degree or enjoy the experience, because life is it's about the journey, and it's about what we learn and experience in this world, in this lifetime. And like you said, we've had many lifetimes, whether it's been here on the earthly plane or somewhere else, because some of us do feel that we have come from somewhere else to be here, and maybe we have had many multiple lifetimes here as well. But it's about the experience. I think people get so ground down in the mundane routine of life that it's in that hamster wheel, and they're not able to go beyond, to explore and grow and develop with that curiosity. And I mean, I know that for me, I've been very fortunate to be have that experience of traveling and living in different countries, and have so much more broader experience than so many other people. I know that, like, when I went to school with my family, etc. So it does really make a huge difference when I look back at my life, and I just think, wow, I've managed to do that. Of course, there have been times, and Caroline knows me well enough to know that there have been very challenging times where I fall back into that sort of dark, spiraling down into the darkness. And I need to then come back up to the light where I realize actually this is an experience. It's not the dark. The light and the dark is part of that experience. The emotional roller coaster at times, that's part of the human experience, that we're here in this term to grow and experience these things. And if we don't experience, we're not growing and developing our spiritual side, our soul side. And I think this is a reality. When I learned that, I could start to adjust to having an easier relationship with what's going on in life, that it's not life is happening for me as opposed to life is happening at me and I'm the victim. And when you change that around, it becomes a completely different experience. So we talk here about birth, death, and rebirth, but it's about living. Ultimately, it's about being here, being in the now, being in your life, and living your best life. And I mean, Carol and I did a workshop last night, and it was very much based around this reignite your spark, about helping people to rekindle that spark, that passion, that love for life, that joy for life, that, you know, if you're creative, finding that creative outlet. There's so much more to life than just getting up, going to the job, doing the routine things. You really, really need to expand and find things that will bring you that joy and that level of you feel alive. Caroline's nodding there. I know what she means. She knows what I mean. Caroline, for example, I mean, when we say that, do you feel alive? What sort of things make you feel alive?
Being with my children, you know, having family over, doing my heart and soul show with you, because then we can just share. I think every time I can share from my heart, every time I can touch someone's heart, you know, it's those moments. And of course, nature, especially now in spring, you know, when the sun is shining, the green grass, the dandelions, you know, it's just the blooming trees. It's just amazing. And that, of course, reminds me of rebirth, of our own cycle, you know, of going within and going outside. It's all in cycles. And yeah, I love singing, and I'm looking for a singing group near here. You know, I don't want to really join a church choir, even that's probably the easiest option. But it's just, I always loved singing as a child. And I think that should sort of, I mean, singing is just uplifting, heart opening, and great. And helping others, you know, sending a smile, being kind to others, that is so, so wonderful. And as you mentioned, you know, so many people, and that was me a couple of years ago too, were afraid of dying. So we don't truly live. And once you nearly died, that fear is gone. And with that, most fears. It's not like I'm suicidal, you know, don't get me wrong, but it's sort of like, yeah, it's like that Damocles sword is not hanging above me, like this is the end, and that's it. So you can expand more, you can truly live. And I think it's that, you know, when you just go day by day, you're sort of narrow, it's sort of like, and then if you take a moment, take that breath, and then you can expand, and then you live in your whole energy. It's not just your earthly body, but that energy and that connection that make you sing. So anything that widens you, that lets you expand, is helpful, whereas everything that sort of narrows you down or tries to fit you in a box is, of course, not helpful. But we all have jobs to do, earn some money. That's part of life. And but the rest, we can truly explore. And your dog makes you smile as well, right?
Yes, she does. She does. Yeah, she's just not been in great form today, and I thought, oh, I'll just do it in here. And normally she's been very quiet, but I don't know. If it's the eclipse or what's going on, but she's barking at the most. We can't see what she's barking at, but she's barking at a lot of different things. So anyway, she's fine. But yes, she does bring me much joy, indeed. I don't know what she's doing at the moment now, but yeah. But yeah, it is about sort of, letting go, releasing that fear of death to allow yourself to live. And I think you're absolutely right, because then you expand. And I love that you're going to go and join singing group. I would if I could sing. I was one of the ones at school that used to sing my heart out, and then I was told just mime it. Broke my heart. But anyway, singing is not my creative outlet, let's say. But writing and books are, and storytelling and things like that, and creating things. So we all need to tune into anywhere that being creative or being part of something bigger, like playing music, for example, being in a choir, painting. If there's so much out there that you can bring that into your life. It doesn't have to be a massive, oh, I need to completely change my life around. It just might be, I'm making space because this brings me joy and I really enjoy it. And that's what's important. As you say, the nature, taking the dog out for the walk at the moment, there's lovely blossom all over the place, and it makes me smile, particularly when I'm walking through and it's sort of like blowing like snow. it just makes me smile. So sometimes it's the little things, as well that do add up. But when your heart is open, it's things like that. Just you're aware, you become more aware of them, and they make you smile and they make you feel good. And then you walk past somebody else and you're smiling, and they then smile because you're smiling at them, and it has a lovely ripple effect. And I know we've talked about this before, but it does, living your life and being able to be joyously in present and allow yourself, it's that sort of to shine. It really is a beautiful feeling.
It is. And one way I love to be creative is taking my phone with me and then capturing the beauty around me, blue sky, green grass, or the dog or something, and sharing that, to uplift my Facebook feed. And it's just amazing, just being a bit creative, being in the moment, and also being grateful to being alive. And that was the hardest part for me. For me, it was just like, oh, another day, and I just keep going. And then I saw inspiring posts about being grateful to be awake. I was sort of, really? Just another day. It's sort of like, yeah, right. I get through this day. But actually coming back to that grateful moment, and like you said, being open to seeing the beauty around you and taking that moment to maybe just breathe it in. You don't need to take a photo. You just be there and just breathe it in, and feeling your heart open. And of course, letting go of the past, healing your past, so you can truly move forward as the creator of your life, rather than the victim of your past. And it's easy to say, I know, but it's just sort of just like a switch. You know, I used to look back and sometimes I've had moments like, okay, if my marriage hadn't ended, things would be easier, but then other things would be much harder. So this is my life. I move forward, and this is important. And making the most out of your life, of your day, of each moment is essential because, yeah, I feel at the end of this life, we go through it, you know, with the council, with our angels, with our soul family, and we can then see where we could have had a different choice, in a loving, compassionate way, and see what we experienced and where we might have missed out on an experience or anything. But it's sort of like, yeah, having a bucket with you and collecting those experiences that bring us forward, that soul experience, because we came here as a soul and on this soul journey, and yeah, making the most of it and treasuring the moment, not waiting for it to finally be over. And that's also a good thing, for me, for most of my then going through my divorce time, I felt regret. And I thought, oh, my poor children, they have to go. They're now from a divorced family, from a broken family, and blah, blah, blah. Because I tried hard to keep the happy family up. But then I realized actually they chose that. They chose that experience. Their souls, chose this family to go through this experience and through that narcissistic father experience. They needed that, because many of my clients also say, oh, I wish I'd chosen a better father. But it's the soul experience of your children and your soul experience that needed this in this lifetime, and all is well. And it's an experience, you know.
It is. It's an experience, and I think sort of as well because both of us have been on our spiritual healing journey for a little while now, and when I look back to see where it was, and okay, I had that sort of blip a few years ago with the whole move, with a lot of moving places, let's say, but that was a reminder of what it was like and what it can be like and where I am today, and it is totally different experience. If I could say to you, if you can find a way to heal that pain and release yourself, as you say, from that being a victim of your past, you're giving yourself the space and the freedom to invite that joy back in. Because when you're carrying that burden, you don't have the capacity, that space. So when you throw that away, get rid of that, you then have that space to start allowing yourself. Because I know a lot of people, when you start your healing journey, to say, oh, start doing this and that, and you haven't got the space or the capacity. And it is about needing that sort of to let go, to release that trauma, to release that, so that you can then move on. It is a process. And for some people, there's no one size fits all, because I think some people think, oh, you do it in a week and it's like done, tick, tick, tick. It's not like that. It basically is everybody's journey, soul journey is different. So, what's right for one person may not be the right thing for you. And it is your experience about finding what works for you. I mean, both Caroline and I do very similar work, but we're a little bit different in our approach of how we do things. And that's the nice thing about it, is that there is someone out there for you if you're looking help or support through that process. Look around, find someone who truly fits with you,
Mhm.
because that's where it really has to work. You've got to trust. There's got to be that trust, hasn't there? Anyway, we seem to have gone away now from the topic, so I'm sorry about that.
Mm.
But yes, it's about the birth, the death, the rebirth experience, that there's so much more to life. And don't be afraid. Death is just the new beginning.
Yeah, it's sort of, or going back to the old, I always say we come from love, we go back to love, and here on earth we're sort of figuring it out, and we're sort of missing that love we're used to, and have to find ways to connect to the love within. But like you said, the most important and where we're very similar is we're just holding a safe space for you to allow healing to take place, because, yeah, we all have it within, and it needs that safe space, that quiet, peaceful, loving, nurturing, compassionate space that you can then let go and reconnect with your heart and soul.
Beautiful. Thank you. Have you got anything else you want to add, Caroline?
Yeah, I mean, I had 3 near-death experience. I'm still here. And I mean, the first one was on my 21st birthday. I was in Hawaii and I was riding the waves, and I had no idea. I sort of got under and drowned and things. And I thought, so, okay, that's it. And my last thought was, oh, my poor mom, on my death stone would be born August 8th, died August 8th, and that's what my image. And then I sort of woke up at the beach. I had no idea how I washed there, but I think my guardian angel sort of swept me out of that. And of course, then I didn't realize. I just thought, how did I come here? It was sort of like, oh, one moment I was sort of going under, and the next I woke up at the beach, and I was young. And yeah, and then my skating accident was also, and I think we have, and I know we have several exit points, so it's not a finite time when we go, but sort of our soul reconnecting, and we have this exit strategy. Do you want to remain or do you want to go? And we always have the option, and of course, on a soul level, for the highest good of all involved, we decide, and I decided to stay on for 3 times at least. So, and all the others, I don't know, but it's good. It's good. And there's so much more to explore about life. And yeah, treat it with gentleness and compassion and gratitude in small doses. There might be many souls actually, they're lining up to having an experience on this earth, and not all of us get it. So we are here, we can make the most out of it. And I know life is not always easy, but it's an experience, a neutral experience of it all. And there's always light at the end of the tunnel, literally, figuratively. So there's light at the end of our life, because then we move into the light again, over the rainbow bridge, whatever you want to call it, or move into the light. And of course, here through our experiences, don't forget, there's always light and there's always help out there. Reach out to Janet or I, connect to the angels, read books, talk to people you trust, and remember, you're not alone. You're never alone. You're always supported.
I love that. And also bring some childlike curiosity, awe, and wonder, and some playfulness into your life as well, because I think that's where when you have that sort of sometimes that childlike spirit, you embrace life so much more. If you watch children, that natural curiosity of exploring and discovering. And sometimes we forget that as we get older. And when you reintroduce that, that's also a lovely way
Mhm,
of
mhm.
enjoying life.
A
So,
very good point. Thank you, Janet. Absolutely. Yeah. See it through the sparkly, mesmerized eyes. And yeah, and sometimes it's sort of like taking a step back. We are so too deep into life. So sort of take a step back and see it from an outside perspective. Sort of like, oh, it's all a big game. What can I do here? How can I, see it differently? Mhm.
exactly, exactly. So, I think we've shared some good advice. If anyone's listening in, definitely connect with us. We've got so much more to share as well. So, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. And stay tuned for another episode next week. Thank you.
Thank you.